Welcome. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group WinSIG, or Windows Special Interest Group, for Sunday, April 9th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock, and I'm glad you're here. We've got a nice crowd so far for an Easter Sunday. I expected a smaller group than normal. It's always been when we had our live CFCS meetings, we always said, well, should we have it on Easter or not? And we said, well, we'll have it for those that want to come can come. This way, though, we're also recording it. So if you didn't make it to the meeting and you're watching the recording, we're glad you are. And again, I want to remind groups, user groups from around the country and Canada and Australia and wherever you are, if you want to use any or all of these meetings, you're welcome to. We encourage it, and as a matter of fact. And let's get started. As usual, let me share my screen here. And we'll minimize this. And I'm going to go first to Chrome and go to my website. We'll screen it. And if you'll go to the WinSIG page, and I usually do this now because I'm trying to get my newsletter off before the STUG meeting, which is always the first Wednesday of the month. I'm getting my newsletter out a lot earlier, so I'm trying to get my list and at least post it a lot earlier than I was. But these are all of the articles, and each one of them has the link to where we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead, and I am going to close this out. And then I am going to bring up Edge, where I have all of the articles already loaded. We'll full screen this. And what I have here at the beginning is not part of our discussion for today, but this is the new Bing. And if you go to the search, it'll be the old Bing. If you go to the chat, it's the new Bing, and you can ask it anything. They have now added a few things, and one of them being you've got a sidebar over here on the right, and you can also go to the, let's see if it's here. No, you can also go to where you can do, instead of the search, you can do the design and create graphics using Bing, and it's quite powerful. I'm not going to go into that today. I just wanted to touch base with it. But a lot of the news is about AI that I've been reading and following. There's a lot of other things going on too, but the most significant is AI. And for those of you who are members of other user groups around the country and around the world, AI is being touted as as big as the change in technology with computers or even the Industrial Revolution. It is changing everything. And one of the things it is let's see, Microsoft to bring ads to it, and I think I might have closed out one of the articles. We'll come back to it, but let me go ahead and do the do this. And Microsoft is preparing to bring ads to AI-powered Bing Chat in a move that will come as a surprise to just about no one. Microsoft has announced that it's exploring the idea or adding advertising to its GPT-4 based Bing Chat. And I am seeing ads now when I'm doing some searching. It'll also show me an ad of something. So they've started it already. It's framing the addition of ads to the AI-powered chatbot as a means of driving more traffic and value to publishers from the new Bing. Microsoft says it's seeking to do this by, among other things, pioneering the future of advertising. So advertising and the way we're presented with ads are all going to be changing as well because of AI, and the advertisers are using it in different ways to bring us information and to get it to us. And AI is quite expensive. And if Microsoft is going to give it to us free, they've got to get some kind of revenue out of it, even though they're a part of the conglomerate or the owners of Open GPT or Open AI, which is Chat GPT. And they're one of the big investors in it. So they're going to make some money from it itself, but using it is very expensive. And that's why these different websites and AI applications that are out there are so expensive. It's very expensive for them. It's not free. So that's why they aren't giving it away, or not, and giving a very limited amount of free connection. So just a matter of fact, you're going to see a lot of advertising dealing with AI. Well, let me go ahead and close this. And the next article is the Beginner's Guide to PC Backup, getting away from AI. But I do want to go back to one article that I believe, let's come here and go to QE.net. And for some reason or another, this didn't get in my list there, and it's, well, yeah, it is. It's at the end. Okay. So we'll come back to this. I remember that article. Okay. So we'll close this out and come back to let's see, we're here. Beginner's Guide to PC Backup. We've been talking about backup quite a bit in several of the groups that I've been on. We've been talking about it, Tech for Seniors. And I found this in PC Mag, PCMag.com. And it's a good article on the different types of backup, whether you select files and folders or you're doing cloud storage. And they recommend, or they talk about recommended ones. Including Microsoft OneDrive, iDrive, which I use to back up, amongst other places, and then Google Drive, and then online backup services. Again, iDrive, Acronis, I use, but I don't use it to back up to the cloud. I use it to back up to a hard drive. And then you're talking about backup destinations, whether you're doing it to external drives, and then they recommend some different storage places for that. Whether you back it up to CDs, DVDs, and Blu-ray discs, which are still viable ways to back up, but because the drives are becoming less and less available, might not be the best way to do your backups. USB flash drives now are getting quite large, and you can do a lot of backup. There's a lot of space on some of them to back up using just a flash drive. And then there's network attached storage, which we talked about quite a bit on Tech for Senior Live last week. Synology is one of the brands, and that's where you connect one or more hard drives directly to your network, and through software, you're allowing people to come in, or just yourself to come in through the internet to that information. So no matter where you are, you have access to your files or to your music or videos. And then let's see, and then they've got some recommended storage devices. I'm going to sneeze. I'll be right back. Well, I guess I didn't. Well, may still happen. Hopefully I'll get the microphone off in time. Anyway, some of the storage devices are listed here. And as I mentioned, Synology is another as well. And then in the cloud, here's what the iDrive looks like. I can sign in to my iDrive using my browser, or I can use their software to do it. And all of my backups are out there as individual files. So anything that I need to, I deleted a file or I messed up a file, I can go back to iDrive and download it and continue with what I needed to do. And then you have to decide what you want to back up, because backup space and ways to back up are sometimes there are certain things that are difficult. I've been finding to iDrive it's been difficult. I added some of the system files and it wasn't backing them up. And I noticed last night I finally got a backup. Of everything. It was the few files that it wasn't backing up before it got last night. So I was pleased with that. Now there's other ways. There's browsers that you can also use, and then emails. These are some things you might want to back up. Your drivers, social networks, and information from them, and so on. So backing things up are important to a lot of people, and you have to decide what you want to back up, and then figure out a way in which you can back it up easily, quickly, and that you can also retrieve it and check that you can retrieve it. There's nothing worse than having a backup, then you go to try to use it and you can't get to the data. In other words, you really didn't have a backup. And on that, let's take a break here and see if there's any comments. Dick, you got your hand up.
Yes, I've looked at those some of those NAS devices that were recommended by PC Magazine and a couple other sources, and they are enclosures only. You still have to add hard drives to those devices to get a full backup.
Yes, but there's also software that you use that will help you do that as well. The CFCS TechSig is a Zoom meeting that's once a month. I believe it's the fourth Tuesday of the month. Stan, correct me if I'm wrong. And we talk about various things that members have. And one of our active members in that group has a Synology setup and has gone at length to explain how it works and how happy he is with it. Murray Strom, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I built a free NAS device, which basically allows you to have, in my case, I've got 5 hard drives. If any 2 fail, I've still got all my data. Also, for my Windows machines especially, I usually make a clone of the hard drive maybe once a month or 2 months to make sure that if something really goes wonky, I can get back all of my settings and all of my applications without having to reinstall everything, because reinstalling everything on Windows is a huge pain, especially if you've got stuff that is maybe 8 or 10 years old and you don't remember where the license keys are.
Yeah, and there's a couple of ways around that, Murray. One of them is that I do is in my password manager, I keep all of the keys and the links to what I need to have to if I had to reinstall some software, the information they're going to require, my username and my password and anything else that they require. I keep that in my a password manager. So I have one file that I hold all of that. But I have found occasionally I forget, I get involved with installing something and I forget to put that information in there. And then 2 years later, when I really need it, it's not there and I got to go looking through my old emails, which I save as well, and see if I can find that information. Stephanie, you have your hand up. Murray, if you'll put yours down.
Yes. There are two files that I use constantly, which is to say at least daily, and that is, of course, my Outlook file for email and Quicken. Is there something good for updating them regularly? Special methods or something that you're sure that you've got them?
Well, my Outlook files are quite big. At one time, Outlook had one PST file that they contained all of the emails, no matter how many email addresses you had. And then a few years ago, they changed the way they were doing it. And there's a PST file for each individual email address that you have in Outlook. And since I have many email addresses that I used to look at in Outlook, I've pared it down quite a bit, but I have a lot of PST files, and a good many of them are gigabytes big, because I have emails going back to 1999, 2000. So yeah, backing those up is quite difficult, but I've been doing it with my iDrive, and they do get backed up. My iDrive backup now takes probably a couple hours, but I leave my computer on all night. I go to bed and it backs up while I'm asleep, and it does back those files up. Every once in a while, if one's open, it may not back that one up that night, but the next night it does get backed up. Michael, you have your hand up.
Yes, a thing to think about when you have old applications, Microsoft support stops after a few years for old applications, and even if you do have the key, they won't. The key won't work, and you'll have to go through a really tedious process to get a hold of a person, and then the person can resolve the problem for you. At least that was my experience a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it's if it's a deprecated app and it's no longer available, sometimes when you go to sign in, because it's calling home and home isn't there anymore. In other words, it goes out to the web and verifies that your serial number or your account is viable, and it's not there anymore, so you can't run the program. I've had that happen a few times too. So yeah. And the other thing is with backups, when I moved, I had a ton of backups from old systems, but yeah, they were on tape from my, I can't even remember the brand of backup tape and tape drives that I used, but it was common back in those days, but the drives don't exist anymore. So if you got these old backups, and I used to do a lot on CDs as well, and it made zip files of everything. Well, I couldn't tell what was on them because it was a zip file. So it got to be a problem. I finally opened up as many as I could, and then I destroyed the CDs. And so if I didn't save them, and I did lose some pictures that I wanted, or at least some good size of those pictures, because way back when we tried to make things smaller because we didn't have a lot of storage space. Murray, your hand is up again.
Yes, I was just going to say for the Mac, Time Machine is really terrific. I've had a couple of disasters with Macs that Time Machine saved my life. That's for sure. It's a really good backup system that's very, very easy and really makes it easy to get back what you've lost. Well, I had a hard drive failure right when I was videotaping my grandson's wedding, and I had to go out to Walmart and buy a external drive so I could rescue all the video, but Time Machine saved my day.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn how to do that. I'm playing with a Mac. It's a very much older Mac, but I'm playing with it when I have time, and so I'm trying to learn some of these things.
Time Machine will work with the old Mac.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to try to learn how to do that, back it up. All right, let's get back to our articles. And I noticed somebody asked, can I access a recording for the Tucson Computer Society or any group? Yes, they're online and on the CFCS YouTube channel, and you can also go to huey.net, and each one is listed after I post it, and they're on where all of the articles, the list of articles are. Right after that is a link to the video. So let's go ahead and share. Hopefully I am. We've closed this one out, and let's see what the next article is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on virtual machines, but we have talked about it. I don't think Drew is online today, and I was hoping he would be, because he's probably used it more than most people. But having a virtual machine, and obviously a virtual machine means it's a pretend machine that you use and you create with software and run it on your system. And there's this article tells you why you might want to do it, and then some of the better ones that are out there and some information about them. Most of you will never use it. I don't. I think the last time was when Windows 8 came out. I set up a virtual machine and I ran the beta of Windows 8 in that virtual machine. And so that tells you how long ago it's been since I've done it. So if it's something you're interested in, this is a good article. Hyper-V is one of the more popular ones, as well as the VirtualBox. Okay, the next order, how to set up your preferred theme and font in Windows 11 Notepad. Notepad in Windows 11 is now added some things. I've done a video on some of the changes in Notepad, but you can set your preferred theme and font so that every time you open it, it will be that. And so let's take a look. How to set your preferred theme and font in Windows 11 Notepad. Windows 11 Notepad now has its own settings page where you can set the Notepad theme. How to choose your preferred font for Notepad. And as you can see, they leave that information out. So let's go back to the article. I think you locked up, Huey.
Yeah, Huey's totally locked. He should be back in a minute.
Let's
It, he went totally out.
he's back.
Yep.
Wonder if the recording stays, since the meeting was still running. I think
It says it's still recording.
Yeah, what it probably did is stopped and then started another one. So another part, so I can piece those together. So let's go ahead and share. Whoops, share sound. And I'm running out of resources because I've got so many things open. I've noticed too that the machine, and I don't know what's changed. Maybe it's some of this AI stuff, but I'm using a lot of memory.
When you have all those things open, Huey, that uses a heck of a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Your browser is so packed.
Yeah, but I've also noticed that even if I only have one open, when I go into the task manager, I'm using 3 or 4. Let's see, right now I'm probably using about 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm using about 1,200 megabytes or 1.2 gigabytes of RAM when I only have one window open. So yeah, it does increase it, but it's still, something's been slowing down lately and I'm not sure why. Okay, how to set your,
Okay, I was just going to say, in one of your previous presentations, I think it was a WinSIG, you showed an add-in to Chrome that will sleep your tabs. You see them up at the top, but they're not using memory until you select it.
Right.
yeah, and I think I've got it installed, but I might not be running it. So anyway, again, this is how to set your preferred theme, and it does give you the various settings to do it. I use the you can see here. Now let's see if I click that. Yeah. You can use a system setting. That's what I use, but you can make it light or dark, and then you can change the font. Let's see, how do we get back out of this? There we go. And then you can change whatever font you want to use and size font, and then save it as your default. And then you can, and that tells you how to do that. So if you're in Windows 11, and then that's a different article. If you're using Windows 11 and you want to play with the Notepad, if you don't use Notepad, I use it all the time. I even have it in my, I don't know if you can see my taskbar, but I keep it in my taskbar, and I quite often just click on it and open it and then plop things into it that I want to save, and then I can do whatever I want with them, or that I want to use, or I want to reformat or reword or whatever. So I use Notepad a lot. And let's see, the next article. Windows 11 is testing this new option to help save laptops energy. And we'll just quickly go over this, but let's go ahead and open the immersive reader so you can see it. And so what you need to know, Windows 11 builds, let's see, it released Windows 11 Insider Preview, but it already supports content adaptive brightness control, which adjusts a display or monitor depending upon what appears on the screen. The goal is to balance power consumption and a good visual experience. Now, the feature works on laptops and 2-in-1s that are plugged in. In both of these new builds, opening the search box in the taskbar will show the Bing chat experience. These are the new things in the latest builds of Microsoft Windows 11. And so that's what this article is about. Let's see what this is. How to reopen a browser tab you closed by accident. This works in the Google browser. I'm sorry, the Google Chrome browser. It also works in Bing, and it probably works in many of the browsers that are out there. But what that means is, well, let's go ahead, and I'm going to open up Chrome, and let's just go to just a couple of websites here.
It also works in Firefox.
Does it?
Yeah.
So if I go to Huey.net, and then I open up Hootsuite, I'm just going to open up a couple of things here, and then not people here. We'll do this one, just so I have a few open here. Come on. Going around and around. I hope I don't lose you again. There we go. All right. Well, I didn't put it in a different window. But let's say I close that by mistake and I click it and it goes away. If I hold Control, Shift, and T, there it is back. And I've done it where I've closed the whole browser out with several things on it, and then open it with a blank browser and then click Control Shift. I'm sorry, I think I said Alt. Control Shift and T. When you do that, it will reopen what you just closed. And even if you don't close the browser, let's say you're just working and by habit, you hit the X and close out that tab and you really didn't want to, just hit the Control Shift T and it will come back. So I think that's an important thing to remember, and you'll find that you'll probably use it quite often. And let's go ahead and stop share and see if we got some discussion to do here. Any comments, questions? It's good to know that Firefox will do that as well. I find that very handy. There are plenty of times that I've needed to reopen something I've closed, and just by clicking the browser and then Control Shift and T, it will open it up.
It also works in Brave. I just tried it.
Yeah, well, Brave is a Chromium based browser, so I would expect that. But it's nice to know that Firefox, which is not Chromium based, it works in that as well. Okay, any other comments, questions? Some of our questioners are not here today. All right, let's go ahead and share again. I haven't been monitoring the chat, so if there's anything important or questions, if somebody will let me know. There's chat. Okay. How to find the Windows 11 blue screen of deaths. And in fact, some places I've heard it is a black screen of death. I think I've only had it happen maybe twice since I've had Windows 11. So I'm not really concerned about this, but you can go back into the logs, and some of these logs that are out there are things that the bad guys use when they call and they say there's something wrong with your computer, call this number, and then they'll open up your computer, they'll get into your computer and they'll open these things up and show you something that went wrong. Well, things do go wrong and Windows does monitor that, but they'll show it and make it sound like you need their help. And that's some of the things that they do. So if you want to look, and I looked, and I don't have a BSOD or the blue or black screen of death, but if you want to, you go into the event viewer. Now, how do you get to the event viewer? You right mouse click on your start button and go to the event viewer. And again, this is much more advanced than a lot of you really need. But if you are interested, I know there are many of you who do like getting into these things. You can go into the Windows logs and you can go into custom views is where they're saying to go. And you'll notice I don't have it there. And this article tells you how to add the BSOD logs and then take a look at them. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, some of you who are advanced, you'll be able to read this article and it'll tell you exactly how to do it. Top 6 features of the Microsoft 365 app. Microsoft 365 is what was called Office 365, which was called Office from Microsoft. They keep changing names, but the Microsoft Office 365 is what they're calling it today. And let's go ahead and do the immersive reader with us. Now, what are the top 6 features of the Microsoft 365 app? It provides easy access to all the Microsoft branded services. And here are 6 features you'll find in the app. Getting started with the app, it's a subscription-based platform that offers increased flexibility due to its cloud-centered features. Microsoft app is what gives you the access to both this service and the features of the Office suite of apps. The Microsoft 365 is available both in the web and mobile applications across several platforms. The free version of the app is available, a free version. However, to access premium features, you'll need a Microsoft 365 subscription. So for most people, the free version of the Microsoft 365 is all you need, and you do it online, and it's great. You've got the use of Word and Excel and PowerPoint for free. But the premium plan is in two categories: home and business. The home plan includes family and personal plans costing between $6.99 and $9.99 a month, or $69.99 and $99.99 for a yearly subscription. I opt for the more expensive yearly, and what that covers, it's a family plan with 2 to 6 people, and offers 6 terabytes of storage with family safety features you might find useful. Meanwhile, the personal plan covers just one person and comes with 1 terabyte. If you get the 6-person plan, everybody doesn't get 6 terabytes of storage. Each user gets 1 terabyte of their own. The business plans, I won't go into that, but there's the home tab. It's the first page you see when you launch your Microsoft 365 app. It features a quick access bar that displays your recent documents, and then you can manage your files, and you can use templates and share. I'm going to show you this in just a moment. You can manage your cloud files, sort through files easily using filters. And then Microsoft 365 is more than just an app. It's many tools as well, and they're going to be working in AI. But I'm going to close that and then come over here. Probably the easiest way, instead of doing it with everything open, I'm going to go to Chrome. And you'll notice that I have, let's see here. Yeah, there it is. I have my camera's in the way. I have a center cam. Sometimes I can't see it. So here's the Office, and when I click on it, it opens up Microsoft 365, and it's actually going to office.com. And as it said, you'll see a menu of all of the items. You'll see it along the left-hand side of the screen as well. You'll see many of your latest documents. You'll see them here, including PowerPoint, Excel, and Word. And I can open any of those. When I save them, it saves it. And if I open this up on my Chromebook, I see them as well. If I open them up on my Mac, I'm sure it would look the same as too. So the fact is that it's in the cloud. It doesn't matter. I can open this up on my Android phone, and it's there, and I can open up files and use the Word or Excel on my phone. So Office 365, or Microsoft Now 365, is available to everybody. Now I have some advanced access and some advanced things that I can do that you might not be able to do if you don't have the paid version. But almost everything that you would use if you're not an owner of the paid version is probably there. And as you can see, I have 1 terabyte of space, and I'm only using 12% of it, and all of the files. And when I open a file and I save it, it automatically is saving it to the cloud. And so when I change devices, that file will be available to me. So if you're not using it, this is a great way to create a file on one computer and then edit it on another, and or print it when you get home on your home computer. So that's Office 365. Let's see if there's some questions on it. I see a couple of hands up. Walter.
Yeah, had Office or Microsoft 365 for a long time, and I can't remember ever paying full retail on it. And to give you an example, just in the last month, Amazon ran a sale where I paid the full price, and Amazon gave me a $50 gift card. I bought a computer a year and a half ago from Lenovo. Lenovo gave me an extra, I don't know, 3 or 4 months of service. And I'm seeing deals all the time. If you see one of these deals, you can always set it aside, or you can just go ahead and put it in. So the one I just bought, I still had until July when my subscription was going to run out, but I went ahead and applied it. So now I've got 18 months left until I need to buy another one. So it pays to look for deals on these things. They're out there all the time.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Office is when you do have a deal and you add it and you take advantage of it, it adds to your account. Where
Right.
I've seen some software packages, when you do that, it starts it over again from that day, and so there's not an advantage to it. Stuart, you have your hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
Is Office 365 and OneDrive the same cloud server, or are they different cloud servers?
It uses OneDrive as the cloud service.
So if you save something on Office 365, you can get to it through OneDrive as well.
Absolutely.
Thank
That's
you.
where it saves it. Yep. Mike?
So I've got Microsoft 365, but it's on my computer. Yeah, I go to the main menu and it's in my menu, and I click on it and I can get to Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. So I don't use the web interface that you used. So obviously I can't access my files that are on my main computer. But is there any change now that it's considered Microsoft 365 instead of
No.
Office 365
Mike?
on my computer?
Mike, you can access it on your other computers, because the second it's saving it to OneDrive.
But
And you
I'm not doing that, Bob. I'm saving it on my data drive locally.
Oh, okay.
No, I know
Yeah,
I
but-
can't. I know I can't get to the documents that are on. Actually, I'm using pCloud, but for the vast majority of my shared documents. But on my main computer, I've done absolutely nothing while Microsoft has made all these changes, and that's why I'm wondering. I saw Huey start it by doing it within the browser, and I'm just starting it by going to my main menu and just clicking on Word or Excel or PowerPoint or whatever.
Yeah, I do the same thing, but mine saves it to OneDrive. So it doesn't matter where I am, I can always get to the files.
So my subscription really is just the license that I'm using it, no matter how I access it.
Yeah,
You
you
can
can
put-
you can still go to office.com, use your same sign in, your Microsoft sign in, and you can use that and then save, open one of the files from local, then save it to the cloud.
Several sessions ago, probably more than a year ago now, you showed a demonstration of how Word uses the online Word app to record audio, or to take recorded audio and put it into a document. And at that
Yes.
time, you couldn't use a local copy. You could only use the online copy. Do you
That's
think
still correct.
remains
That's
the
still
same?
correct. Yes, that's still,
That
Yeah.
hasn't changed.
that hasn't changed. Bob, will you check the,
Huey,
Person's
there's
waiting.
somebody I don't recognize.
yeah, go ahead and bounce them, or I think you can ask who they are.
I'll lower my-
Okay. Mike, your hand's still up.
Yeah.
Joel, your hand's up. You're next.
My hand's up. You want to learn from people who are using Microsoft 365? I want to use it to share files between 3 Windows 10 computers, my wife, myself, and another person in my household. Right now, I'm using a NAS by Western Digital, and I'm somewhat concerned about its end of life. I'm willing to move everything up to OneDrive, I'm willing to buy the family membership, but I'm trying to see, can 3 people would learn enough logins, or if I even share my passwords, can we all get to the same files? And if I buy the family and get 6 terabytes, I cannot find any way to move data from 1 terabyte to a 2nd terabyte to use it as segments of a large disk drive family. I'm trying to use Microsoft sort of as a network and give all of my users permission to get to parts of the network.
Now, I think you're right that I don't think you can move things back and forth, but you can allow sharing of data just by right mouse clicking on the file. And then there's a share choice. And then you can get an there's different ways in which you can share it. You might check to see if there's a way to easily do it with, I think, a whole folder and then give it access to the other person and they can get to it. And you can give them full rights to it to be able to edit as well.
That's the goal.
Don't forget, Microsoft is trying to make everybody work in teams and work together. So they're trying to encourage interaction of files. And so their software does allow it, but you've got to sometimes work the system.
I'm trying to learn how.
Sharing can be done for files and folders.
Yes.
Same way, just do a right click on a folder and then you can give people permission. One person or anyone. And even that can be restricted.
So I can, how would I get 2 people to be able to log in to the same
they would log into their account. And then if it's yours, then you would have shared it with them and they can then get to it.
This is what I'm trying to learn.
Okay, so let me go ahead and open here.
I mean, few of the people on this mention, how do our members share all their files with their wife, who, granted, only a small percentage of the files may need to be shared, but my bank account is shared with my wife. Our contact list is shared with my wife. I don't want my master password list is shared with my wife. I want to be able to, myself and my wife, log in with the right password and have everything shared. Is this doable? What did I drop?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to understand
Not you,
what you're
Iris,
saying,
I'm online.
so, I'm not sure. Anybody have any comments or answers?
I have
for
a
that?
comment. If you have the personal Microsoft 365 account, you can put that on 5 computers, and all 5 of those computers will share the same 1 terabyte of data and access it, and they all log in with the same name. For instance, my wife and myself both log into my account, and she can access everything on my OneDrive folder. If you need more than 1 terabyte, then you have to go to these more complicated problems or solutions.
Or you could have a drive out there that's for you, one for your wife, and then one is and then one it's both of you. So you would have 3 accounts you would be using.
Good start.
3 logins sounds very cumbersome.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I'm sure there's probably easier ways to do it. Teams might be one of them, and what is the other? Microsoft has things in place for groups to be working together. I just have not been involved in any of that, so I can't help you there. What I did want to show you there, well, let's go to my, let's see. I'm going to go to my OneDrive. think this is.
Yeah, I'm
my
trying to make
OneDrive.
OneDrive my primary drive
Yeah,
and put all of my stuff up there and work all of it, all of my day-to-day actions on my OneDrive storage.
yeah, this is Huey. I think this is my OneDrive. Yeah, because I put things up there. So let's from old drives. I don't know. Let's probably nothing important there. Some slides, demo, camera. I'm just trying to see what's here. Let's open this. This is just out on the cloud only. And it's empty. Okay. Let's see if I can find something else here. No, Chromebook presentation. All right, I'm going to take a file here, and then under OneDrive, you can share. When you click share, it gives you several choices. This is only one file, but you can do this with whole folders as well. You can copy a link. You can send, let's see, let me move it over here so I can see it. Send link, copy of the file. Anyone with the link can edit. You can send it to a particular person, and then you can edit that. You can put a message with it and then just hit send, or you can copy a link and then click the copy and then send them the link. So there's different ways in which you can share these files, but this is probably the one you would want, and you would give them permission to go in, and all they have to do is connect to that link and they'll have access to the file. And you can set it up so they can edit, they can just view, or your sharing settings. There's quite a bit you can do when you share a particular file or folder. I hope that helps you.
It's a start.
Is the upper part there to share?
Okay, Joel, you've got to,
I've got to lower my hand.
okay.
Oh.
All right, anybody else?
Yes,
Sure, John?
yes. A couple of things. First of all, when I'm editing in Word, for example, there's a switch up on the left-hand upper side, which says that whether I want to save in the cloud or not. I can turn it off and then save on my local drive, or I can turn it on and it will automatically, they don't even give you a save option. They just do it automatically.
Yes, and they'll do it every, I think it's 10 seconds or every, I can't remember what the time frame is, but it'll keep saving it automatically for you. So if you screw up something or you lose connection, it's still out there.
Right. And I like that. That's working well. The other thing is that with the other thing we mentioned, the link, when you set it up to share, the upper box seems to confuse people. If you just put there, if they just get an email saying that it's being shared or something, no good. You need to click that link, which copies it, and then drop the link into the note. Otherwise, they don't understand how to get to it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's how Bob and Ron and I exchange sometimes videos. They're very large files. It could be a gigabyte video. We put it up on, or I put it up on OneDrive, and I get the link to it and then send the link. And that way they can download it and have it on their computer very simply and very easily.
Mine's usually a YouTube video, but you only get the link. I wouldn't attach a file. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I've sometimes put the files that I haven't put up on YouTube, or I'm not planning on it. It's an introduction, or it's something that I'm working on. I can put it up in OneDrive, create a link for it, and then send it to somebody to take a look at it.
Now you can do the same with Google's Drive.
Yes.
It works
And
the
I
same
have-
way, right?
Yeah, and I have that. And the other thing I do is I can save something and share it from my either one of those drives, and then go on my Chromebook, and I can get that file and utilize it for my Chromebook. And so it's not just Windows machines using those files. You can have other machines, as long as they can read the file. You can share files with people with other operating systems. Tom, you have your hand up.
Yes, two things. Will a Microsoft 365 work on both the Mac and the PC?
Yes.
Yes, but I believe that you have to buy. I think they're different versions. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyone
understood
happen to
before.
know if I bought the family plan, I think it can be both Windows and Mac. I'm
That's
not
correct.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
It's you're buying the accounts, not the software.
Right.
And I think I need the family plan. I think I need the family plan if I'm using more than one computer.
As I mentioned before.
No, you
No, more than one
personal
person.
plan will let you
hang on, Mike, or whoever it is that's talking. Hang on just 1 minute. Tom, would you repeat what you just
If I'm using it on a Mac and a PC, I'll need a family plan.
No,
No, I think you can have it on two devices.
Okay, so then if that was the case, then I'd have to buy two different versions anyway.
You can
No,
install it. You can install it on 5 devices if you have the personal plan. I've done that in my house, and 3 of the devices are Macintoshes and 2 are Windows.
That answers my question.
All
Thank you,
right,
guys.
good. Yep. It was worth coming today, right?
Yeah, well, I come all the time. I'm from California.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Golden
Stuart,
Gate
you
Computer Society in Marin County.
I'm
Intercept
glad
this
you're
way.
here. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for
Stuart,
all
you
your
have
good
your
work.
hand up. Thank you.
Yes. Is there a way that you can work on a Microsoft Word or Excel spreadsheet, save it on your personal drive, and at the same time back it up to OneDrive? Can you set it up so that it automatically backs up to OneDrive, so you don't have to do it manually, but it'll do it automatically while you're working?
Well, what you can do is save it to your hard drive and have that hard drive be automatically backed up to your OneDrive. So anything you put in that folder will go to OneDrive. I have it that way with some folders. Other folders are only on OneDrive, and other folders are only on my hard drive.
Can you explain how to do that?
Not easily. and not off the top of my head. That might be a video that might be something I can work on, because I'd have to sit down and really think on how I did it. I do know in some of the earlier versions of Windows, they had all kinds of issues, and they actually did away with the ability to have them separate. You either had a one or you had a both. I can't remember what it was, and then it went away. But now you can, and I think you noticed when I was, when I was showing that folder, there was a little cloud next to it. That meant it was only in the cloud. If it's both, I can't remember. There's another. I think it's a double arrow or something like that. And then if it's being shared, there's a picture of a human, outline of a human. So there's different ways that you can utilize your folders on your OneDrive and on your hard drive.
So you would do that through File Explorer by right-clicking on the particular folder?
Yeah, but you're going to have to you're going to have to do some settings, and off the top of my head, can't tell you where those settings are. I think it's just in settings, but it might be within the app. It's
open up the OneDrive, and then from there go to settings, and then go to your backup settings, manage backup, and you'll find all kinds of settings.
Thank you very much.
Michael?
Yeah, once again, on the personal OneDrive, I put all of my data folders into the OneDrive folder. And that means that whenever I'm working on the computer, everything is going into OneDrive. And within the OneDrive folder, when you right click on files, you can choose to have them saved locally or just in the cloud. If you choose locally, it'll be both locally and in the cloud is my recollection. So the key there is put all of your data into your OneDrive folder.
You know, some people don't want to do that, but that is one way of doing it for backup purposes. But you know, I've got a couple of terabytes on my hard drive. I don't want all my files to go there. I don't want to fill up my my OneDrive with everything that I back up to iDrive, which is a third party, and then I also back up to a hard drive. So yeah, so there's different ways in which you can do it, and you want to do it that works best for you. Okay, let's we're not going to get through everything today, are we? But let's go ahead and that's not unusual either. That's what I like to do with this is we get to discuss and you get to ask questions, and that I think works out quite well for us. There we go. Let me move you back over here. And the next article is prevent Outlook from sending yes, I went a windmill.dat file. One of the fellows in the STUG group needed an Excel file that I had, or no, it was, yeah, needed some kind of an attachment I had in Outlook, and he wanted me to send it to him. So I sent it with Outlook, and when he got it, it was a windmill.dat file. He couldn't do anything with it. And I couldn't understand it because I was sending it to him. When I sent it to myself, it worked fine. And so it was something, some settings on his end. But what I figured out by reading this article and a few others, there are some settings, but even if you do those settings, the key to it is I have my Outlook in when I receive an email, it's a text file. And then I have to hit a button and tell it, make it HTML. And when I if I create an email, it does it, it could do it either as a text file or as an HTML file. If I send it as a text file, it'll send the attachment as a windmill.dat file and they can't open it. But if I make it an HTML file, it will send it as the Excel or as a Word file. Let me just quickly show you that why something's blocking my stop share, but let me escape, and I'm making a few changes to my desktop so I can do this easily. And let's see, bring up my Outlook. I'll connect and show you here in a moment. Come on. Okay, now let me share. Good, okay. Let me share.
Can you use the DB browser to view the DAT file and edit it?
I don't know, but that would be more than what I'm sure they wanted to do. All right, you should be seeing my Outlook, correct? Somebody say yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you'll see that I have several email addresses here. And so I'm using several things, but this is the Huey at huey.net. Let's take the newspaper. When I click this, it will open it up here, but this is how I can read the newspaper. Wait a minute. That's certain. Let me open it as a separate file or a separate window. There it is. Well, you'll notice here that it gives me some choices. And if I click that, one is display as HTML. When I click that, I now have the HTML file. Now, why do I do this? Why do I have it come in as text first? Well, I do it for security purposes. There's ways in which people can embed things in an article, and I don't want anything to get through. So it all comes in as text, and then I can decide whether I want to look at it as HTML or not. Now, when I create a new email, let me move it over so I can see it here. You'll notice there's no options here. But if I go to, let's see, no, it's message. Let's see where I do it. Format text. And I was as HTML. Now, if I start typing something, it gives me a font and a size, which I can change. But as but if I wanted as plain text, I don't know what that is. But let's make it all red. And if I make it plain text, I say continue, it takes any formatting away, and I don't have the ability to do any. So what I have to make sure is I have to send it as an HTML, and when I insert something in the email, they'll get it as an attachment or in the email, and they'll be able to see it.
While we're there, can I ask a question?
Sure.
You just left. Is there, I have, like you, I have many email addresses, and I like to look at them all combined. They never enable that in Outlook, right?
Not in Outlook, nope. Thunderbird.
That's why I use Thunderbird.
Yep, Thunderbird does that. And at one time, you used to be able to do that in Outlook, but I have not, unless they've changed something recently, you cannot do that.
Mine have come in all together. I have 4 AOL addresses, all come as a group, and then there's a Windows address, a Gmail address, which comes in separately.
What
But
version of Office
to have
do you
one
use?
PST file, not 4 or 5.
Yeah. Stephanie, what version of Outlook or Office do you use?
It's the current 365.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I will have to see how to do that.
Desktop.
And John as well. It creates different PST files for me, and it might be because my PST files are so big.
Well, my overall file is very large too, because I've had it for a long time.
Oh,
it's 5 gigabytes or something like that.
Well, good, Stephanie. Thank you. And we'll have to look into that, John.
Yeah,
see if we can figure that out.
I tried it fairly recently and was not able to, but maybe I missed something. I read someplace that there was a new feature you could do it, but I've not been able to enable it.
Now, Outlook is coming out with a new interface, and I have not looked at it or checked it or tried it because I don't know whether I can go back if I go to the new one, if it is available to me. But they are changing the way it looks. And then, of course, with AI, they're going to change it again. So I'm kind of hanging in there with any of the Office products because they're going to have the.
I've been operating in parallel. Every once in a while, going back there to see if I can do it, but continuing to use Thunderbird as my main one. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, where are we time-wise? We're almost there. We can probably do another article. Share screen. Oh, I don't have anything on the screen, do I? Okay, so that's that article. Boy, we have a lot we're not going to get to. And if you use PowerPoint, I've got another article here. Using it on the web has a new video feature. You now, something you couldn't do before, you had to use a YouTube video Now you can actually upload your own video to your PowerPoint and utilize it within the PowerPoint. There is a limit.
I've always done that, Huey. All my presentations have always been with embedded videos, and those videos, those came from local files.
Okay. Yeah, there was a way to do it, but I'm not sure what they changed. It's PowerPoint on the web supports it. The web version did not support it before. That's the difference. So and you don't use the web version, that's why it worked. But if you use the web version, you now can add your own videos to it. But there is a limit of 256 megabytes in size, and what's
on the web
here? Yeah,
if you want it bigger, use the one on the desktop.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, good. And then how to get it, how to get Microsoft Office for free. I put this link in since we're talking about that. This article does tell you, let's see if we can do it in immersive view. Yeah, it talks about the pricing, which we already talked about, and then use it on the web. And it's easy. A quick and easy way to access all the apps is to use the app or a Microsoft 365 app, previously called Office. It's built right into the operating system. This, let's see, use the Office mobile apps. If you're not on a computer and you want to get quick work done from your phone, that's also possible. I don't think working on a spreadsheet's very easy on your phone, but it can be done. And you can also look at an Excel spreadsheet on your phone. But this article tells you how to get the free version and utilize it. Obviously, I couldn't show you anything about that because I've got the paid version, and that's what you would see when I showed you anything. And then OneNote is already free. And OneNote will probably be the first app with their Copilot, so we'll get to see what that is all about sooner or later, but it's going to be probably with OneNote because they're working on that and talking about that first. So we'll have to see what that entails. Microsoft PowerPoint has a new list of features on the web. Again, this is the web version, and a short article, and it only says that there's some there. And then another article on why the subscription is worth the money. And again, we won't go into that, but there are some things in the paid version that you might want, and this would be an article that you might want to look at just to see if it's worth paying the money or if the free will take care of what you need it for. And then I have one more article here. Come here. And that is, what's the difference between them? And so again, that article is listed. All of the articles that I've been showing you are all listed on the WinSIG website with links to the articles. And you're free to share any of that with you. I'm going to end with this, and that is the Windows 11 tabbed file explorer is profoundly disappointing. And I totally agree with that. I am not happy with it. I'm not using the tabs if I can help it. And what that means is I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. And
they did a nice job with the tabbed Notepad. They did a terrible job with the tabbed browser.
Yes, not browser, but
I'm sorry, the Explorer.
Yeah.
File Explorer.
Yeah, let me get back here. Okay, now I can share again. And I got to finish my share here. Okay, let's find a folder somewhere here. It's got a lot of stuff in it. Well, I know where to go here. Okay. Documents. And presentations. And okay, CFCS. And I've got all of these items. Now I can open another tab and open a different folder. And let's say I want my downloads folder. Now I can go back and forth between them, but the one thing you can do in the tabbed Notepad or in other tabbed items like your browser, you can take this and pull it off, but you'll notice there's a line through it and it won't let you do that. It won't let you separate them. And to me, that's a disadvantage. Sometimes I want to look at both at the same time. And the only way you can really do that is we'll take this one and then we'll open up download separately. And so what we'll do then is just open another. And how I do that, how I do that is I right mouse click and then I click on File Explorer here and it opens another instance of it. And so this one I am going to do downloads. So now I have this one here and this one over here, which is my folder that I might want to move things back and forth. Now, going back and forth this way can get really confusing. So this is where setting up your windows, it really comes in handy. There's a couple of ways you can do it. If you just, this is highlighted, I'm going to hold the Windows key and then hit the left arrow and bingo, it gives me half a screen and then gives me the other half and then I'll put downloads there and now I can go back and forth easily. You can also do this with two documents or two items where you want to, one of them is the instructions how to do something and then you're doing it on the other side.
Can I add something that might make it a little faster? If you go to the left side.
Yes, I'm going to show that. I was going to show that next. Thank you.
Okay.
If I just drag that off of there and drag that off of there, they're both there. Now, the other way would be to come up here. I think is this what you're going to talk about?
No, what I was going to say is the left pane, the navigation pane on the left side of the Explorer window. If you right click on any of the folders there, you'll see an option called open in another window. No, not there. The other side. You're on the right side. Go to the left side of that Explorer window.
Over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a subfolder anywhere in there,
open in the window. Yeah. That's one way. But the other thing I wanted to show you was if you go up here, it's not just full screen and not full screen. You can have different choices. So you can set it up. Okay, I want this one to be in that pane. And then it automatically will do what it did before. And then I can take this, put it in here, and I can do that easily. Now, the other thing I've done, now, I don't know if any of you ever send out a lot of emails from a list and you've got to divide it up, but you want the same email to go to everybody. Well, what I do is I open up my Outlook. And then I say new email and I'll click it once. And I have to double click it and it'll open another one. Double click it, it'll open a third one. And I'll double click it and it'll open a fourth one. Now, what I'm going to do is on the first one of these, I will come up here. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to come here. Come on. Just hold my mouse over it. And then I want 4 blocks. So I'm going to say I want it here. So I've got that one there. And then it automatically knows that I want to quarter it. So then I take the next one, put it there, take another one there, and take the last one and put it there. Now I've got all 4 here. I can copy and paste the same information into each of them and then send out 75 or 80 emails with each one and do a list of 200 or 300 names, because Outlook doesn't want you, and neither do most of the email packages, want you to do over a certain number, and the safe number is keep it under 100, but I try to keep it around 75. So if I got a list of 280, let's say, I'll split it up into 3 sections, and then I'll blind carbon copy one group, blind carbon copy the next group, and so on, and then copy the same information and then make the twos to me on each of them. So with that, we'll close those out and stop the share. And I hope you've learned some things today. And any comments, questions before we turn it over to Stan for the CFCS meeting?
One comment, Huey. Earlier on, you talked about PST files. I asked, put it in chat. I asked Bing AI where Outlook on the web stores its PST files, and it doesn't use PST files anymore. It's using mailboxes on servers. So there's no more PST files associated with Outlook if you use the web client.
Okay. And so that's how you can do all in the same, but I think there's a way to do it with the a non-web version as well. But we'll have to figure that one out. But thank you. Any other comments or questions? I hope you have a nice rest of the Easter day. I'm going to turn it over to Stan